I'm going to quote Frank Warren here. He said, if anyone can beat Canelo Alvarez, then for me, it's Billy Joe Saunders. And it seems like I've got more faith in Saunders pulling off an upset than his own promoter. Eddie Hearn said he is already talking to IBF super middleweight champion Caleb Plant's team about an undisputed clash with Canelo. If I was Saunders, I wouldn't want my promoter coming out and saying that. The Brit is preparing to put his WBO title on the line against the pound-for-pound star and current WBA and WBC champion on May 8th. Of course, I worked with Saunders for most of his professional career, so I know as well as anyone what he is capable of. Saunders at his best can beat anyone in the division, and Alvarez is no different. But my fear is how comfortable the Mexican is now at the weight. Alvarez has already gone up to light heavyweight and handled a huge fighter like Sergey Kovalev. Now he's back down at 168. He is very, very good at the weight. Saunders has moved up from middleweight to become a two-weight world champion. The question will be, is he strong enough to keep Alvarez off of him for 12 rounds? Saunders also has not been as active as I would like. He needs to be in the ring regularly to show his best, but he has the skill to do this. Saunders at his best is brilliant. He has a superb boxing brain, and he can outthink any fighter. So those are the words of Frank Warren. Now, he said at first that he's got more faith in Saunders than Eddie Hearn does, who promotes Saunders. But then he goes on to talk about basically all the reasons why he wouldn't necessarily pick Saunders, saying that Canelo's really comfortable at the weight and he's very good and Saunders hasn't been active and all this kind of stuff. So, you know, he doesn't sound overly confident himself. Now, I have to imagine that Frank Warren is angling himself here, trying to put himself in a position whereby if Saunders pulls off the upset, maybe Warren can tempt him back. Because, to be honest with you, I would be a bit insulted if I was Billy Joe Saunders, seeing the way Eddie Hearn is so cozy with Canelo. And this is what I've been saying for a long time and why I keep repeating. Fighters should not be loyal to promoters. Yeah, Eddie Hearn was all ranting and raving about how great Billy Joe Saunders was until he signed Canelo. And now Billy Joe Saunders is like a distant memory to Eddie Hearn. He's posting pictures up like this, which everybody's been having a giggle at, right? The bromance between Eddie Hearn and Canelo. Even Billy Joe Saunders has posted some stuff on social media, kind of taking a pop at Hearn because of stuff like this. And again, just like Frank Warren said, Eddie Hearn is planning Canelo's next fight. He's already started negotiating beyond the Billy Joe Saunders fight. Now, if that is happening, the least you can do is keep it private. To be coming out and saying, oh yeah, we're negotiating. Come on, that's just bad PR, man. That's not a good way to be handling a different fight. You got to be more pragmatic than that. And Eddie Hearn is generally a pragmatic guy, but I just feel like he's so in love with Canelo. He's so happy and over the moon and so gassed to have signed him. And I'm going to get to that in a separate video. The level of glee that Eddie Hearn must be feeling right now because of the stuff Canelo's been saying about him. Again, I'll come onto it in a separate video. But for Billy Joe Saunders, it can't be a good thing. It's kind of like if you're from a big family like I am, you will have seen how you've got the youngest sibling, right? When they're a baby, a small child, your parents then have another baby, and all of a sudden the attention diverts from that previously youngest sibling to the new baby. And that second youngest sibling can all of a sudden get very jealous and start lashing out at you, the rest of the family, because you're not giving that sibling the same attention that you were giving them before this new baby was born. You know? And for Billy Joe Saunders, look, this is not exactly a comparable situation because we're talking about a guy in Eddie Hearn who is paid to promote Billy Joe Saunders. He's paid to do a job. So it's not as simple as, you know, the sibling analogy I gave you. Eddie Hearn is supposed to be, you know, shouting from the rooftops about how great Billy Joe Saunders is. And I criticize Frank Warren for this, actually. So it's kind of rich, Frank Warren coming out saying this, But then again, I guess he's just responding to what Eddie Hearn has said to him in the past. Eddie Hearn, and I think most of us were critical of how Frank Warren was so biased in favor of Daniel Dubois over Joe Joyce. But here we have Frank Warren taking a swipe at Eddie Hearn for doing the same thing that Frank Warren did. So it's tit for tat between the two promoters. I said at the time, with regards to Frank Warren, it's not a good look to be so overtly biased in favor of one of his fighters over the other. It's not a good look. It can sour the relationship between you and the other guy. And same situation here with Eddie Hearn. What if Billy Joe Saunders actually pulls it off? What if he does? You think Billy Joe Saunders is going to look at Eddie Hearn and say, yeah, we're friends again now and it's all good? He's probably going to be a little bit peeved, isn't he? I would be. But like I say, you can't take it too personal because it is just business. And therefore, don't get too pally with the promoter. Yeah, you can have a bit of banter and all that, but don't get to thinking that this guy is genuinely your friend. As soon as you are no longer a valuable commodity to him, where he can make money out of you, then he's not going to pay you as much attention. And in some cases, he's not going to call you or answer your calls. So don't be loyal to these promoters, man. Keep it strictly business. Maybe Billy Joe Saunders already is like that anyway. Maybe he knows it's all business and he's not taking it too personal. But there's going to be at least a niggle inside him thinking, this git, Eddie Hearn, diverting his attention to Canelo, acting like I'm just a walk in the park for his guy, his guy, rather than us both being signed to Eddie Hearn. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. Frank Warren taking a swipe at Eddie Hearn.